Now I'd like to share with you how to become an expert in any field of study, any field that you want to go into. How do you become an expert? Well, years ago, some 35 some odd years ago, I had the opportunity to meet Zig Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar said to me, in order to be successful in the speaking field, I told him I wanted to be like you. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to travel and speak for a living. He said, you got to become an audit reader. You got to read. Now, that was the idea, but I didn't know the strategy until I heard a guy by the name of Brian Tracy. He broke it down and made it real simple. And I want to share that strategy with you. How do you become an expert at what you're doing? And remember what Zig Ziglar said? You have to what? You have to read. And so here's the simple strategy I learned that transformed my life. And it will transform your life as well. See, the greatest battle you have is in your mind. This idea that you can't do it, you can't be it, you can't have it. And so, how do you become an expert? Read 1 hour a day. Wow, wait a minute, Dr. King. That's all? 1 hour a day. If you would take the time to read 1 hour a day, it will transform your life. You know, the average person reads less than one book a year, the most one book. Think about that. How are you going to be an expert at anything reading one book a year? You've got to become an avid reader. But how do you do it? You know, burdensome. I've heard people say, I don't like to read. 1 hour a day in your field. Now, this is what it equates to. Take a look at this, everybody. If you read 1 hour a day, that equates to reading a 90 to 120 page book. That equates to one book a week. It's an hour a day. Set aside that time in your field. Get to know. I mean, think about the experts that we rely on. We rely on doctors, right? We rely on dentists, and we rely on the people that fix our cars and all, PhDs like myself to have knowledge. Well, these people spend time in their field. And so one book a week, look at this. Over a year's period, you will have read 50 books. Isn't that amazing? 50 books. 50 books a year. Now, tell me, would you rather talk to somebody that's read one book or 50 books? Somebody that's got some knowledge in their head. And here's what the experts say, everyone. I love it. Let me read it from here. And I wrote about this, and this is what I shared in when I was in Dubai. In 3 years, you will be at the top of your field. 50 books a year. In 3 years, you'll be at the top of your field. Your name will begin to be known in your field. In 5 years, you will be a national authority on your subject. You'll be able to stand on the stage with the best of them. 5 years. Think about that. When I went and earned a PhD, I studied for 5.5 years in my craft, studying, reading. Listen to this. In 7 years, you will be considered one of the best in the world. And I chuckle about that because it's amazing how that I got recognized, and I have been tapped to speak at world conferences around the world. One of the biggest ones I speak at is DUFAT in Dubai because I was recognized as an expert in my field. That's how you do it. That's how you become an expert in any field. Read 1 hour a day. Set that time aside. Cut off the TV, cut off the cell phones, get quiet. And I'm going to talk more about how to get quiet and get in touch with this mind of yours because this is where the battle is going to be. Right now, people are saying, well, I can't be financially independent. I can't be a millionaire. And I often think about using that word because it frightens people. When you say how to become a millionaire, people get frightened. I'm talking about people that are educated. They get frightened because they think it's a sham. They think well, what's a sham to me is being poor. Not being able to pay your bills, not being able to vacation where you want, live in that community. I remember, let me say this, everybody. When I talk sometime, I'll be thinking in my mind, But I remember talking to people, they tell me, you can't live in La Jolla, California. You can't do that. I said, well, why not? Well, you're not smart enough. You're not bright enough. You don't make enough money. You don't come from the right side of the track. Well, guess what? Not only did I live in La Jolla, I lived in La Jolla twice. Left and came back and lived there again. What I'm saying is this, everybody, don't let people limit you. You are an expert when you do this. And those of us that are already experts, continue to do this. Continue to build your knowledge base 1 hour a day, and you will be considered an expert. What do we say? 3 to 5 years, you will be considered what? You'll be considered the top of your field. In 5 years, you'll be considered a thought national authority. And in 7 years, you will be considered one of the best in the world. Perhaps you'll be invited to some world conferences to speak and share your knowledge. I'm going to sign off for now. That's how to become an expert in any field. Start setting aside time right now to make sure that you are honing your knowledge and making sure your knowledge is on the cutting edge of your field. That way, when they start talking about laying people off, you're not worried. I didn't sweat. I didn't. I never sweat. I never sweated sharing my knowledge because people like, you're sharing a lot of knowledge. Why? Because I'm constantly filling up that tank. I'm constantly filling up that tank. So anytime they talk about layoffs, the people that are fearful are the people that have not prepared themselves. They haven't sharpened their tools. They've sat back and let life go by. The people that are ready, like, hey, bring it on. Let's do it. Let's go to that next phase. I'm ready for the next phase. That's how you do it, everybody. That's how you become an expert. Dr. King signing off for now. Go out there and make your dreams king. I'll talk to you soon.